I'm Fletes, head of design over at Serotonin, and paired with Mojito. New York based, and for the most part, kind of entered the NFT world this year, but been on fly on the wall, working at publications like Wired and Backchannel, always just keeping tabs on it, and it's phenomenal to see where it's at.
Hey everybody, my name is Dakota Story. I'm the founder and creator of Hash Bastards NFT. I've been, thank you, that's pretty cool. I've been in the space since March working every day, just trying to build the brand, build the community. Outside of Columbus, Ohio is where I live, and made the trek up here. Super excited to be here. I love it, thank you.
Good morning, NFT.NYC. My name is Singh, founder of 3 startups, 2 in the NFT space, Luxury Ledger, it's essentially luxury catered NFTs, and Nifty Sky, we're retokenizing space. So glad to be here. I remember coming here like 3 years ago where it was only like 100 attendees. It's good to see we've grown to like 5,000, and big shout out to Jody and Cameron for setting this up.
I love hearing that. Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Lesley Silverman. I am the head of digital assets at United Talent Agency, one of the big talent agencies in Los Angeles. It's really good to be here. I'm happy we got the morning crowd because you'll actually be paying attention, I hope. And yeah, it's good to see all of you and excited to chat with my esteemed fellow panelists today.
Hi, I'm Angela and I'm from Melbourne. I work for NFT.NYC as an engineer. Yep, and today we're going to be talking about creating a successful NFT brand. So, Lesley, what do you think the key drivers of value for a successful NFT brand is?
I think it's wild to even be talking about brands and NFTs, but I think so much has transpired over the past 10 months, 11 months, and the fact that we can even be talking about that today is really exciting to me. I think there's room for everyone, and just last night UTA is helping a really big beauty brand launch their programming in the NFT space, and it's really about supporting artists. And so I think key drivers are show up authentically and actually pay attention to what's happening in the space. When I'm talking to brands about entering into the space, it's not, let's make NFTs of your products and trot hundreds of those out there and see who buys. It's really about showing up authentically, learning about the space, being interested in who's here, and who really created, the success in this space to begin with, and hearing what they need. And I think what we need today is that we have global eyeballs on this thing that has been transpiring, and now it's trying to get pushed through to adoption, acceptance, and participation. And I think we have a way to go there.
Yeah, I really echo that, Lesley. In terms of creating a successful brand or NFT brand, really there's 2 options, right? You can create your own brand, or you can elevate an established brand. So I think it's just being authentic, as Lesley said, and importantly, understanding what's your mission, right? What's your story? Because it's all about storytelling. Like, all these projects are storytelling, essentially, and human beings really relate to stories. So be a great storyteller. Also, what are your values, right? What is the mission of the project, of your personal life mission, and are you able to convey that in a storytelling form, whether visually, whether it invokes some kind of emotion, whether verbally, and does it really is embedded in the brand that you're trying to work towards? I think it's really important to understand the mission, the values, being authentic, and being a great storyteller, and either creating your own brand, understanding your audience, or elevating an existing brand.
Absolutely, I think that was really smart, everything that Bobby just said, but I think, in NFTs, community is sort of the king, and I think the reason is because NFTs offer this entirely new way to connect with people and relate to people. And when you are paying attention to your community and what they're interested in and the current events, that's how you connect to people. And I sort of trade in memes and humor, and that's sort of my way to connect with the community and have a good time. And that that's how I nurture my community, through paying attention to current events in the NFT space, and then turning it into some kind of joke that everybody else is sort of in on. So I think building a brand and getting that idea across and telling your story and connecting with people and nurturing your community, those are all the biggest things in my mind of a successful NFT brand.
Yeah, and I do think trust is also the biggest factor when we work with brands or build our own brands, because they're putting a lot of effort, time, money, and just power into trusting you to get their project off the ground, whether it's your own or theirs. I know with some of our clients, they don't really understand the world they're entering, and so it's a lot about just confiding in us to help them out at every single facet along the way, even down to the actual illustration of the NFT, the typefaces, the design, the website build, how to mint, what's better for their company. When they mint, they want to look more eco-friendly, so where do we go and mint? It's just a lot of different avenues that we consider, especially in the design eye, because there's a lot of great brands out there. I mean, I'm inspired every single day, and I'm like, wow, I definitely need to hustle some more just to catch up and be where all of us, you included as well, are.
I'm going to expand on what Dakota said about community. So one of our clients, you guys may know him as Draco in Harry Potter, so Tom Felton. So he came to us looking to distribute NFTs with his fan art. So he gets a lot of fan art on his Instagram. He usually shares it on there, but he decided that NFTs were the way to go. So, as you know, his fan base is probably a bunch of young kids that don't understand NFTs. So we've tried to streamline it as much as possible. So most of them wouldn't have wallets or anything, wouldn't know what an NFT is. So what we've done is just as soon as they sign up, we give them a wallet that we hold, so they can export it if they want, but most of them don't. So yeah, we just try to make it as easy as possible for everybody to engage.
Yeah, that's great. And I also want to touch on what CK and Dakota said. CK said, I think you said something about trust, and then Dakota, you said something about communities. Yeah, so trust in communities is like everything in the crypto space, especially with so much fraud happening and so many scams. Like, if you have communities trust, if you're well reputed, right, you have a good reputation, the community stands strong because these are networks, right? Like, think of it almost like a social network. It builds on the more members that you have in your community, the greater the value of your underlying asset or a product, etc. So community and trust, which all comes down to essentially from the founding team members or founding DAO, what are the intentions, essentially, what are the intentions and what are the safeguards in place in case something happens? And I think that is 100% very important in this space with all the fraud that is happening. Community and trust is like everything about brand, especially if you want to engage with existing brands with their own reputation. They will not forego reputation risk with a startup unless you are well reputed to begin with.
And I would say transparency is a very big thing too. When I think of a lot of the 10K projects that have found success, and there are a lot of projects that you can mint at a 0.08 price, you could mint at 0.05. But honestly, when you look at projects like Cool Cats, they dropped their mint price to 0.02, and now their floor is sitting at almost 10 Ethereum. I think the idea of having a high mint price in the beginning sort of goes against your community and letting the market sort of adjust your price for you. And if you take that leap and say, okay, I'm going to say that my NFT is worth 0.1, and I'm going to sell it for 0.1 on the primary market, that you've cut out so much room for your initial investors to make profit. And then, with these projects having success at a lower mint price, it begs the question, why would you have, a higher mint price ever? It sort of feels like a cash grab almost, and I think that's a word that gets thrown around a lot in NFTs. Is this a cash grab? Are they going to, you know, take the money right from the first mint and then run? You know, so it's all about authenticity, transparency, what your plan is, and, you know, being honest with your community about what's next.
Yeah, I think that makes a really good point as well about longevity in this space, because, you know, sitting at a big global talent agency, I get a lot of incoming calls, both from talent and from brands who are interested in tapping into this space, right? And they haven't thought much further than that. You know, we want to get in, it's a really exciting moment, we want to be a part of it, we don't, you know, the FOMO culture that sort of, you know, we all participate in, has caught the attention of others as well. And so one of the first questions I ask is this something that you want to do? Is this something that you want to see as a part of your business? If you're a music artist, you know, I'm talking to artists and saying, you know, this is, okay, so you have touring, you have ticketing, you have, you know, your albums, obviously, and then you have your merch strategy, and then are you going to have an NFT strategy long term? And I think that's really important, because this is a moment where everyone wants to be in, and once you're in, if you're not here to stay, people, I mean, the thing that I love so much about this space is that the community really dictates whether or not you're considered authentic in the space. So I think it's really important to be thinking about the longer term, even though it does feel like right now is that exciting moment. And so if you are launching a 10K project, for example, I have a lot of concerns about how do you maintain a relationship with the community that you've now created? How do you feed that beast, right? And so a lot of the conversations I'm having with brands today are, look at all of these amazing artists who are in this space. I mean, my background is in fine art, and so I see a whole generation of new artists who have the ability to be accepted in the mainstream art world, in the mainstream world in general, where they weren't previously, because digital art was something that people really didn't understand, couldn't collect, it didn't have a place necessarily in our institutions or our galleries, and so they have this opportunity. And so I'm asking a lot of these brands to look at the existing creators in this space and give them a platform. It's just that simple. And then do that long term. And I think it's a really authentic way to show up. So I'm really excited that, you know, our client L'Oreal Paris is going to be doing that. And I hope that that actually showcases a template for how brands can participate in this space.
Okay, what do you guys think are the potential pitfalls of blockchain projects? CK, do you want to start?
The potential downfalls?
Yeah, that's right.
I'll give it a design viewpoint. I think with any great momentum comes just saturation in terms of everyone's out to replicate one another, and therefore no one's really breaking through into just their own genuine design, kind of visual language. But blockchain itself, I don't really see a downfall yet. I don't know, maybe I have my blinders on because I really want it to succeed for everyone. But yeah.
I mean, I guess I would say that the most important thing is standing out, you know, being unique. When I started in March, every single project, if it was an NFT, all the projects were pixel projects. It was all pixel art. And, you know, I got into the space and I was like, I have no goddamn idea how to do pixel art. What am I supposed to do? So, you know, I just leaned into what I knew how to do, what I was good at, what I could authentically, you know, execute for, like she said, on the long term, not just the short term. What could I do every single day? And, you know, I think going outside of that, trying to adapt to, you know, trends or, you know, hop on a trend, I think that's the biggest pitfall, is being very short-sighted in not seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, I really echo with that. And I mean, these are exciting times, right? Like there's a Cambrian explosion of experiments and startups and artists kind of all wrapped into one with this blockchain technology. And I think if you focus on the shortfalls, the pitfalls really are greed, I think, right now. And I know yesterday Gary Vee was saying, you know, like we have to have a 360 view on perhaps, let's say, trading. I mean, some people are genuine collectors, and some people are just traders, they flip, etc. So yeah, there's greed, there's froth in the market. That's okay, but a lot of that will get cleansed out as a cycle peaks or hype cycle, you know, kind of peaks and cools down. So long term, 100% bullish on blockchain, all blockchain technology, all projects that use the underlying technology. Short term, I mean, I think we were talking, all the buzzwords here are authenticity, trust, greed, etc. Like these are the pitfalls, is the humanness part of it, not the actual blockchain part of it. So I think we just have to be careful and be look out for that and invest in and support projects and create projects that focus on long term, that are well reputed, that are genuine, authentic, good intentioned, and are really community focused.
Yeah, I think that all of us here sitting in this room know the basics, right? Or we've participated very deeply in the marketplace, and we have this assumption that the rest of the world knows what we know, and it doesn't. So I think the biggest pitfall is not, you know, assuming that nobody understands. And I think that, again, it's like continuing to support what already exists in this space, because we're not at that mainstream adoption point yet. It's really exciting that we're all here together. I wasn't here for the last one. And I'm really excited to be here and to see how this community and, you know, blockchain, that mainstream acceptance grows over time. I do believe that, you know, Web3, if you're not paying attention or not very soon paying attention, you're gonna miss out on a huge opportunity, and my agency feels that way as well. But I do think that we need to embrace the fact that we're early. I heard that in the last panel, and I hate to beat that drum, but we are, and it's exciting to be early. And now, you know, we need to invite everybody else in, and brands need to think about this space the same way. I know we're right at 6 minutes, so.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah, so ideal community size. If you're thinking about launching a project on blockchain, and yeah, does that sort of summarize your question? What is the ideal community size? Is 50 too small? Okay. Okay. Anyone have thoughts on that?
It's how did you say your wife, your partner, teaches art to disabled children? Oh, for sure, yeah, like art 100%. Therapy, for starters, yeah. In and of itself, it's a great project, and I know a lot of us, especially Serotonin or Mojito, we work with nonprofits to help younger children learn to code, or to have pretty much a space for their creativity. We'll have some in the future, I can't really talk about right now, but it's based on giving back to the community, based on giving back to children, because I think one of the pitfalls coming back now that I've, like 10 minutes later, it's like, oh yeah, is we leave behind a lot of people that we should have brought along the way through nonprofits, through just community organizations as well.
Yeah, I guess I'll just add on about ideal community size. I would say there's probably not an ideal community size. I think I've seen community sizes of all types succeed and thrive and be successful. You have a 10K project with 4,000 owners. You have a community of 4,000 people. That's insane. Or you have a one-of-one project and you have 200 owners. Like, both of those are thriving communities with very focused people. And I think, you know, you could have 10 people in your community, but it's a community. It's a tight-knit community. You're creating a community, and I think, you know, it can be any size.
That's exactly right. And you already have a community. Your wife already has 50 students.
Yes.
That is your community. Right now, it's all about scale, and it's all about community management. And when you have a vision of your project, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, which is to therapeutic healing of art, I mean, that's a great message to share with the world, right? So you just need a voice, you just need a platform, and so many platforms are out there for you to scale, and you can hire freelancers for community management, but you start with that 50 members, that is your community, and you scale.
Cool. Does that answer your question? Is that, it's okay. Okay.
I'll take a quick stab at that. In your case, with if I'm assuming with your wife, it would be the NFT side of it. There's no need for a coin right now. There's no need for a DAO essentially at the moment. It's too complicated, it's complex right now. Start with the art, invoke the emotions, invoke the therapeutic qualities, communicate that with the project. That is your brand, right? You don't have to worry about a coin or DEXs and DAOs at the moment. Just focus on the qualities that the project can offer.
Yeah, I would say never forget the power of an idea, and if people buy into your idea, that's very powerful. The project that comes to mind when I say that is by an artist named Billy Jaggs, and he did a project called Ether Invisible Rock, okay? And it was 100 pieces, and it was just all white JPEGs. It was Ether Invisible Rock. And the floor on that got up to like 4 Ethereum at one point. So think about that, this collection of 100 pieces, white. It was just invisible rocks, white JPEG, selling for 4 Ethereum. So, I mean, the power of an idea, if people buy into it, that's it. You've done it.
Another question? Could you stand up, sir?
Absolutely. Joe Ferrer from NFT Tickets. Question for Lesley. Did I hear you correct saying you're trying to like co-brand with artists and your mainstream brands to create NFT artwork products for consumption? And then follow-up to that is just comedy, because I hear a lot of people who are like here to figure out how they can make money. I think that's a big mistake. We've invested a lot in this space, and your authenticity comment I think is right on. And if we think back 21 years, there's something called the internet bubble that a lot of people went broke on. But the internet's here today in a big way and is facilitating what we're doing. So this will go through that kind of cycle. We just need to be real authentic about it. So I appreciate that.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, thanks for the question. So, I mean, one of the things that I have loved about this space from very early on is the level of collaboration that happens. So we're not trying to force artists to collaborate with brands in this space necessarily. You know, we're in a listening mission mostly. So it's like, how do you want to carry out your intentions in this space? And then we provide support. So we've certainly facilitated artist collaborations. One that comes to mind is my client Thank You X with Hans Zimmer. You know, so really amazing NFT artist who got to collaborate with one of the biggest composers in the world, and I loved that. It was such a beautiful, beautiful project. So more to come on that, and I think we are at time. So thank you for being a great audience, and thanks to NFT.NYC.
Thank you, NFT.NYC.
Thank you, guys.
Wonderful.